Hi guys, today I will be sharing how to make coconut cake with tropical fruit crumble and custard cream. The recipe comes from taste.com, but I modified the ingredients a little bit. For the crumble, we need 60 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons of shredded coconut, just like this big. If you can't find shredded coconut, you can use desiccated coconut. This is 2 tablespoons of sugar and half a cup of plain flour. To make the crumble, we're gonna combine the flour and the cold butter that is cut into cubes. And then we're just gonna rub the butter and the flour together until it crumbles and it looks like wet sand, which look like this. At this point, we can add the sugar and the shredded coconut. We're gonna put this in the fridge and then we're gonna move on to the cake. We need 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of fresh milk, 160 grams of room temperature butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of plain flour, half a cup of shredded coconut. Again, if you can find shredded coconut, use desiccated coconut. This is fruit cocktail that I drained, 1.5 cups, or you could put less or more. Okay, we're gonna line the springform pan with parchment paper on the side and at the bottom. This is 22 centimeter springform pan. As you can see here, we will set this aside while we move on to the cake. Now combine the cake flour and the baking powder. Give it a mix and set this aside. We're gonna sift this later. We're gonna beat the butter. And then we will add the 1 cup of sugar. We're gonna mix this thoroughly. After about 2 minutes, we will add the vanilla. And then continue beating for about 5 minutes so the eggs and butter will become light and pale yellow. Occasionally scrape down the side of the bowl. Just like this. Now we're gonna add the eggs one at a time, beating in each addition. Now the second egg will come in. Now we're gonna add the desiccated coconut. The shredded coconut. By the way, your oven should be preheated at 170 degrees Celsius. And now we're gonna sift in the flour. We're gonna alternate the flour and the milk. So first, I added 1/3 of the flour. Then using a spatula, I'm using the folding method. And then I'm gonna add half of the milk. So we're gonna start with flour and we're gonna end up with flour. So I'm gonna put flour again. Now I'm gonna add the rest of the milk. At this point, this milk is quite huge, so you'll notice that your mixture will split a little bit, but that's okay. Once you add the flour, it will come back. Now I'm adding my last flour. Now we're gonna transfer this into the prepared springform pan. Once you get all the butter from the bowl, we're gonna smooth the cake on the top. And then give it a light tap before baking. We're gonna bake this in a preheated oven at 170 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 25 minutes. And then we will take it out of the oven. Just like this. This is still raw, but we're gonna put the fruit cocktail on top. So again, this is partially baked for 20 to 25 minutes. And then we're putting the fruit cocktail on top. And now we're gonna put the crumble mix that we prepared before. And this will go back in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes, or until when you insert the skewer in the middle and the skewer comes out clean. And this is what it looks like after baking for 45 minutes. Now let it sit in the pan for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we can release the cake from the springform pan and take out the baking paper on the side and let it cool down completely. For the ingredients, we need 100 ml of heavy cream, 260 ml of full cream milk, 1 tablespoon of corn flour or cornstarch, 3 egg yolks, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 75 grams of granulated sugar. To make this is very easy. Just combine all the ingredients except for the vanilla. So that's milk, cream, the corn flour or cornstarch, egg yolks, and finally the sugar. So using a whisk, we're gonna whisk this until they are well combined, and then we're gonna move onto the stove with the heat setting medium to low. So I am on my stove now, and I'm gonna cook this until it thickens. So it's important to continuously stir this so that the egg yolks will not curdle. At this point, it will change the consistency into thick custard, just like this. And you can turn off the heat now and add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And that's it. That's how to make the custard. Very easy. We're gonna transfer this into a bowl. Now I'm transferring the cake into a platter. And this is the finished product. I hope you give them a try. This cake is really good, and when you eat it, it's got lots of texture, and you're gonna enjoy eating this. And just to show you what it looks like inside the cake, make sure that it has cooled down completely before cutting it. Here my cake is still warm, it's still steaming. And this is what it looks like inside. You will have a cleaner cut once it has cooled down. To serve this, you're gonna drizzle the custard. This custard is still hot, as as it cools down, as you can see, there's steam on it as well. As it cools down, it will thicken. So to serve it, you're gonna spoon the custard on top of the cake. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!